I would love to see where God refuses Ishmael from the covenant. Please show me that verse. Secondly, yes, Ishmael did live during around the perimeters of Egypt and even in Egypt. It was in fact an Ishmaelite who bought Joseph. It was an Ishmaelite who paid for Joseph and took him to Egypt. Furthermore, the lineage of David comes from Ruth. Now Ruth was a Moabite. The Moabites were Ishmaelites. So the evidence is truly overwhelming that indeed Ishmael did live in Egypt, and he was part of the mixed multitude that left. The evidence for this is truly overwhelming. Maybe we could have that debate on some other time. But mainly I want to focus on what your belief of the covenant is. You don't seem to understand covenant language. The covenant, the signature of the covenant means something. You're basically saying that the signature is meaningless. That's what you're saying. That the covenant was made originally a long time ago, but then it was signed in Genesis 17:11. 17:11, and you shall be circumcised in the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a sign of the covenant between me and you. It is very important. It is so important that if you are not circumcised, you are not part of the covenant. So the circumcision is definitely important. You're making it seem as if it's not important. Yes, it is. And Isaac and Ishmael both signed the covenant. In fact, Ishmael signed it 1 year before Isaac was even born. He signed it. And I have shown you over and over again in Genesis 18:18. Can you please post Genesis 18:18? Oh, I'm going over the same thing over and over again, which I don't mind. Abraham will surely become a great and powerful nation, and all nations on the earth will be blessed through him. For I have chosen him, so that he will direct his children and his household. And I have shown you who is the household. You have not told me if Hagar is the household. Can you please verify if Hagar is the household or not? After him to keep the way of the Lord by doing what is right and just, so that the Lord will bring about for Abraham what he has promised him. The promise is a nation that will come from the children and his household. Very clear. I don't know how clear the verse can get. So you have not shown a single verse where Ishmael is excluded from the promise of Abraham. I am still waiting for that verse. There is no verse at all in the Torah which indicates Ishmael has been excluded from the promise of Abraham. And with that, I pass the mic.
Okay, here we go. Genesis 18:18. Let's see. In Genesis 18:18 it says, Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed by him. Did you catch that? This is a specific promise. All the nations of the earth shall be blessed by him, and it will be through his household. How do we know that Ishmael is excluded? Well, not long after that, he is sent away. Ishmael is no part of the household any longer for Abraham to teach him the ways of God. Yes, after that he sends away his other children, that they will also not be part of the household of Abraham, that he will teach the ways of the Lord. Okay, now we go to the only one remains is Isaac. Now if we see in Genesis 18:18 that Abraham will become a great nation, and that all the nation will be blessed by him, in him, through that nation, and we read in Genesis 26 verse 4, I will multiply this is regarding Isaac, the only one left in his household that he taught the ways of the Lord. I will multiply thy seed as the stars of heaven. I will give unto thy seed all these lands, and by thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. What does that tell you? through whom does that go? Where is this promise given to Ishmael? All that Genesis 18:18 shows, when you take it into in the entire context into consideration, this promise in Genesis 18:18 refers to Isaac again, not through Ishmael. And again, Ruth being a Moabite says nothing about the Ishmaels being with the mixed multitude that came out of Egypt. Ruth lived generations after that. So that says nothing about who came out of Egypt. So again, where is the proof that Ishmaelites were persecuted by Pharaoh and that they were among the children of Israel who came out of Egypt? You have not shown that again. You have still to show that to us. So as far as the entire context, because you take one verse and then run with it, the entire context shows that Ishmael and all the other sons of Abraham are off limits as far as the covenant goes. The covenant is only with Isaac, and the promise of Abraham being a blessing to the nations is only with Isaac's. Your mic.
You have not proven that. You have not proven that. Now, let me just go back to what he says. He says in Genesis 18:18, Ishmael was part of the household. Correct. And then he was cast out of the household. Let's see what God says when he is casted out of the household, shall we? Genesis 21:17, brother, 21:17. This is what God says when he is casted out. God heard the boy crying, and the angel of God called to Hagar from heaven and said to her, "What is the matter, Hagar? Do not be afraid. God has heard the boy crying as he lies there. Lift the boy up, take him by the hand, for I will make him into a great nation." Even when he is casted out, the promise of a nation is still with him. So my opponent has really nothing to stand on when he says things like this. Once again, there is not a single verse that takes this away from Ishmael. Not one. Not a single verse in the Torah that takes away the promise of a nation to Ishmael. And we know that the nation is what's going to change the world. It is this one nation that is going to change the entire planet and bring everyone to the religion of Abraham. Furthermore, in Genesis 16:9, let me see, 16:9 and 16:10. The angel of the Lord told her, "Go back to your mistress and submit to her." The angel added, "I will so increase your descendants that they'll be too numerous to count." Can you count the Jews today? There's about 14 million Jews. So obviously this is not about the Jews. It's given to Ishmael. Can you count the Muslims today? There's over 1 billion Muslims. So this prophecy of Ishmael was fulfilled. I will so increase your descendants that they will be too numerous to count. This is a prophecy about the nation of Ishmael, which God has fulfilled in the 7th century with the advent of Islam. Now my opponent here, he is not only debating me here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, he is debating Torah scholars, which I have cited. He is debating Rashi. He is debating Rabinya Batya. He is debating the Torah itself. Once again, he has not provided a single verse where Ishmael is cut from the covenant. Over and over again, the promise of Ishmael becoming a great nation is verified. There's not a single verse that takes that away. Now, my opponent here, okay, my time is up. With that, I pass the mic.